My name is Kenya, Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, Aviation Consumer Protection. We are here today on the Ask Your Aviation series. This is the second episode, and with me is Mr. Boniface Committee of the Competition Authority of Kenya. Mr. Boniface.
As Scholar has said, my name is Boniface Committee. I head Consumer Protection at the Competition Authority of Kenya. And we're excited to be here because we partner with the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, not only to address competition matters, but also to protect you consumers from unfair and misleading market conduct. Our mandate is to enhance competition and consumer protection in the Kenyan economy by regulating market structure and conduct in order to ensure efficient markets for sustainable growth and development. And to do that, we work with various sector regulators. And we have an MOU with the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority. As I had indicated, the MOU is to be able to cover aspects of competition and consumer protection specifically.
Yes, we have partnered with the Competition Authority of Kenya in the areas of competition and consumer protection. Within the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, the Aviation Consumer Protection section ensures the rights of aviation consumers are upheld. So today we are answering questions that you have sent us through our social media platforms of both the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority and the Competition Authority of Kenya. The first question is from I am Samuel, and it reads as follows. Where can I log my complaints about matters in the aviation sector? So in the aviation sector, we have both our partner, the Competition Authority, and the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority. Within the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, you can lodge your complaints through our email, consumer@kcaa.or.ke. You can also send a letter to the authority through our PO Box 3016300 Nairobi, or you can send to our Facebook KCAA KE and Instagram and Twitter CAA_Kenya.
And for the authority, we have a consumer portal, and this is quite important because the consumer portal will be able to alert you once we receive the complaint. You'll type competition.cak.go.ke:444, and our emails info@cak.go.ke, complain@cak.go.ke, or Twitter @CAK_Kenya.
At Pegi Mwanza, you get a response within 1 day of lodging your complaint, and at most 2 days.
And for the Competition Authority of Kenya, you'll get a response within 1 day after receipt of the complaint or issue that you have lodged with the authority. To Ninette Morania, yes, we would receive the complaints from our various portals, which I mentioned to you, info@cak.go.ke, our complaints portal, which we acknowledge immediately. Through the portal, we will acknowledge the complaint immediately. And just to emphasize that the authority has primary jurisdiction over the investigation of consumer-related complaints. But however, we have the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, and that's when we come together through the MOU that we have formed or that we have signed to be able to investigate your matter further.
Okay, as Boniface has said, it is true that we do collaborate whenever we get complaints on any issues on consumer protection and competition. At ADS_Kenya, we at the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority do ensure that the aviation consumers' rights are upheld. We do this through dealing with all the consumer concerns that have been brought to us. We also make sure that we inform our consumers on their rights so that they are aware of what to do whenever they have an issue.
For the Competition Authority of Kenya, we look at various areas. And one thing I would like to emphasize is that we have the Constitution, which is the supreme law in the land of Kenya. Article 46 of the Constitution is on consumer rights. And what comes next is the Competition Act, specifically Part 6 on consumer welfare. And what we look at are aspects of false or misleading representations. We investigate aspects of unconscionable conduct. Unconscionable conduct is where a supplier or a trader has a higher bargaining power over a consumer. We also look at aspects of product safety and safe goods and suitable and defective goods. So those are the main areas where we come in to protect you as consumers. And regarding the airline industry, there are aspects of false or misleading representations or unconscionable conduct that would come in investigating aspects of your consumer issues in the airline industry.
To add to what Boniface has said, we at the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, we deal with issues that relate to baggage concerns. We look at ticketing, we look at denied boarding, we look at flight delays and other forms of questions that are brought to us.
We have handled various complaints together with the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority. One case study I will mention is in regards to involuntary bumping of passengers, where you pay for your flight, you go to the airport, you expect that you'll be flying at that point, but you are told that you cannot fly because either the flight has been overbooked or and you've been bumped without you being told in advance. And that, we know, disorganizes the passenger completely, because you incurred a cost and probably there are other costs that you will have to incur. In that case, once you register the complaint with the authority, is that we will take it up. And pursuant to the MOU that we have signed with the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, is that we will work together and look at some of the aviation regulations, and using the laws that are in place, we will then investigate the matter and write to that particular accused party. And at the end of the day, the decision would be either to refund you the cost, if that has not already happened, and there could be other remedies, such as a financial penalty based on 10% of the value of the particular ticket. So there are various remedies that would be able to give you as a customer, and that we have been able to work with KCAA in resolving some of those issues. At WINI, the consumer complaints handling process at the Competition Authority is, once you lodge your complaint, and I mentioned this before, is that we'll take a day to acknowledge receipt of the complaint. But if you send it through the portal, then it will automatically send you a message informing you that we have received the complaint. But we don't stop at that. We go further ahead to analyze the complaint and to see if there are some certain gaps. Maybe you did not attach a copy of a warranty or a copy of a receipt or any other documentation like communication that you've had with the airline that would help the authority to further investigate the matter. So what we do is that once we assess the gaps, we will get back to you, and that happens typically within about 4 days. We will get back to you and request you to give us that information. And once we capture that information, then typically within a week is that when we see that the matter falls within the mandate of the authority, then we will write what is called a notice of investigation to the accused party. What we have seen at Winnie is that once we write a notice of investigation and the party receives the notice of investigation, they may go ahead to resolve your complaint. And we know consumers like their matters to be handled as fast as possible. And we give the opportunity to the accused party to resolve the matter. If they have resolved with you and they write back to us and tell us that they have resolved the matter, we will write to you or we will call you and ask you at Winnie, has the matter been resolved to your satisfaction? Once we get the go ahead from you that the matter has been resolved to your satisfaction, that is when we close the file from our end. But certain matters can be a bit complex, and that will require further investigation. You know, we have to operate within what is called the Fair Administrative Action Act. So once we write to the parties, typically we give them 14 days to respond to the authority. So you find that that takes a process, but however, you can write to us at any point in the investigation just to find out where the investigation has reached. But typically it's good to be safe on both sides to ensure that the process is fair so that we give both parties, that is you as a consumer and the accused party, an opportunity to resolve the matter. If the matter becomes very, very complex where we will require further evidence, then we will be able to consult, and that has been put within the Competition Act under Section 68, is that we can consult further or we can refer the matter to a specialized government agency.
Further to what Mr. Boniface has said, we at the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, once we have received your complaint, we normally respond within the 1 to 2 days, after which we engage both the complainant and the person you're complaining against to ensure that the complaint is resolved amicably. And usually the whole process takes around 30 days. At Janet Mudhoni and Mchafuzi 254, when we are dealing with baggage issues, there is no fear as such. What is there is that you can claim for compensation concerning whatever you have lost. This is as per the Montreal Convention, which now enables you get compensation as per the weight of whatever you are carrying in that luggage, which is normally about $20 per kilogram.
For the authority, what I would like to advise you consumers is that I talked about Article 46 of the Constitution. You have a right to complain, and one of the rights is that you have a right to full information for you to receive your benefits as a consumer. So if you complain to the airline that has aggrieved you and they do not resolve your complaint, then you can come to either the Competition Authority of Kenya or the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority. And that way, then we will be able to handle your complaint. We'll look at the issues. And Scholar has talked about the Montreal Convention, and these are just one of the documents that are viewed or are reviewed in order to address your particular issue.
So when you lose your baggage, baggage is seen as lost after 21 days. So when you arrive at the airport, you fill a form to indicate that you have lost your baggage. It is important that when you arrive at the airport, you actually claim.
At Winnie, as I had mentioned earlier on, is that the authority has primary jurisdiction in the investigation of consumer complaints in Kenya. And just like the way we do it with other sectors, because The authority investigates consumer issues from across sectors, from a wide range of sectors, the finance sector, in terms of products. We have looked at various sectors. We will proceed to investigate as the authority. However, if it comes to the point where the authority will need to consult with the other government agency, with the other sector regulator, then we will come to the sector regulator pursuant to the various collaborations or collaboration frameworks that we have had with them. Or if we do not have a collaboration framework with the sector regulator, we will still come to them seeking expert advice, and we will proceed with the investigation. However, there are certain investigations that would be of a very technical nature that would require the services of a specialized government agency. And in that case, the authority, and this has been entrenched in the Competition Act under Section 68, is that we can come in appropriate circumstances to forward the complaint to the specialized government agency. However, what the authority ensures or emphasizes or ensures is that we have made effort to resolve that complaint within the authority. But if need requires, then we forward it to the specialized government agency.
We at the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority also collaborate with other agencies, and in this case, the Competition Authority of Kenya, to ensure that the rights of the aviation consumer are upheld. At Ken Makua, we will resume international flights when the appropriate government agency gives a go-ahead, and we are ready to ensure that these flights take place with your safety in mind, and we look at all the health protocols that have been put in place. At Oliver, this is a very interesting question. Actually, previously, we have engaged our consumers using various means. We have had public meetings, we have had social media engagement, we have also used the newspapers, we have also used radio and television. But as we go forward, we are looking for better ways, and through this, our Ask the Aviator series, we are sure that we will be able to engage the consumers more as you bring in your questions on various issues of interest. Thank you so much at Net One Impact. The ICAO, which is the International Civil Aviation Organization, has provided guidance through the Principles on Aviation Consumer Protection and various documents on aviation consumer regarding issues like delays, cancellations, and persons with reduced mobility.
Now, to my fellow consumers, stakeholders, to my fellow Kenyans, and anybody who's out there, 3 things that I would like to emphasize to you. One is that you have a right as a consumer, as I indicated, under Article 46 of the Constitution. And to be able to further know about Article 46 of the Constitution and its provisions, to be able to know further about the provisions on consumer welfare of the Competition Act, and to be able to learn more about competition, then you can visit our website at www.cak.go.ke. We have a range of information that will help you to understand our mandate, to be able to understand what competition is and how you can contribute to ensuring effective and efficient markets in the Kenyan economy. Secondly, something that I would like to emphasize is on the importance of having evidentiary information. Most of us, once we purchase either a good or service, tend to dispose of the receipt or the evidentiary information. But in case of a dispute, that is a piece of evidence that will enable you bring out your rights or bring out the complaints or the issue that you have faced, either with the provider of the service or with the provider of the goods that you have purchased. So it is very, very important that you keep the evidentiary information, so that, because that is going to help the authority in investigating your matter further. Third and lastly is that we have gone digital. We have created ways in which you can engage with the authority through our social media platforms. Our website is very, very interactive, even for those who are visually impaired and for those who have any sort of disability. Then you'd be able to interact with the authority through our website. We have ensured that our website is as interactive as possible. So we have a portal that we have developed, and through the portal, then once you register the complaint, immediately it gives you a message, and it will be updating you on the next stage or on the process in which or where the authority has reached in the investigation of your consumer complaint. And to access the portal, you click on competition.cak.go.ke:444. And that way we will be able to interact with one another. As I mentioned initially, follow us on Twitter at CAK_Kenya, on our social media platforms such as Facebook, through our website www.cak.go.ke. And also you can be reading about us. You can Google about us and you'll find some of the decisions that the authority has undertaken, and all those you'll also find in the website.
When you are traveling with an airline and you have an issue, what you need to do is to engage the airline first, because the airlines also deal with complaints of passengers. If they are unable to address your issues at the airline level, then you can contact the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority through our various platforms. We have our website www.kcaa.or.ke. We have our email consumer@kcaa.or.ke, in which you can write to us. We have our Twitter and Instagram, which is CAA_Kenya. All these various platforms give you the opportunity to give us your issues. We are ready to handle your issues as you bring them to us, and we assure you that we will address them. So as we go on with this series of Ask Your Aviator, we want to know what issues you actually have, so that we can answer them and address them also. This office welcomes you whenever you have any concerns regarding service issues.
The Competition Authority of Kenya is here to create efficient markets for you.